Hey guys, so I get asked this question a lot. It's, what does it mean when she's not responding? Or what does it mean but she responds, but she takes 3 hours to do it? Oh no, now she took 2 days to respond to me. Oh, this time it took 1 day for her to respond to me, but this time, it only took 30 minutes. What does it mean? Does it mean that oh no, she doesn't like me anymore? It must mean I did something wrong. It must mean that, she's talking to someone else. What's going on? Usually when you start with that kind of question, it ends up in a spiral downward into a rabbit hole, which is a very dangerous place to be in. It's very easy to get into that question and kind of overanalyze everything that's going on, and it goes into like a web of possibilities. So the first thing I want to say, if you're asking yourself this question or asking others this question, is to step back and just for a second, being present in where you are and where that conversation is and taking it as it is, and not thinking of it any more than that. And asking yourself, what do I have control over? What have I already experienced? Because that's all you have control over. At the end of the day, guess what? You actually can't get that answer. If you ask me, what does she mean by this? Honestly, I can give you maybe a gist of it, or maybe a possibility, but you can't get that answer until you ask. And that's something that you have control over. You have control over figuring out the answer for yourself by simply asking her. If she's someone that responded to you very quickly in the beginning as you guys were dating and now she's slowing down, ask. Say, I've been realizing that, it's been taking longer for you to respond to my messages, especially compared to the beginning. So I just wanted to ask, is everything okay? Or what's going on? Or has work been really busy for you? Ask and let her give you that answer. Right? So I feel that it's so important, especially with this kind of question. People always think that they, for some reason, lost control all of a sudden, but that's not the case. You still have control over this. So if you asked, let's say you had a last message and she didn't respond, ask yourself, okay, did I do my best? And yes, you did. Maybe you asked a question. If it's a statement, I would say, women, if you just made a statement as the last message, what are they really needing to answer anyways? But if you recognize you did ask a question on the last message and you felt like, it was a question that was kind of flowing with the conversation, then you did your best. And that's that. Wait for the response. And if she does respond to you, but oh Lord, 3 hours later, right? or 2 days later, hey, she responded. And that doesn't mean that, oh, she's trying to ghost you already and she's trying to, potentially let you go. No, because at the end of the day, she could have responded. Actually, she didn't need to respond. She could have gave you zero. It was a zero response. But just because she took longer, really, it could be maybe a girl's just trying to ghost you, or she could be really busy. Remember, the other girl probably has a life. She has things to do. And maybe she got distracted by something, whatever it is, but she still responded to you. So recognize that, and continue the conversation. And if you feel like it's a problem that's bugging you, then ask. And then let's say it's been 3 days and she hasn't responded to you, asking yourself, what do you have control over? Do you want to check in with her? Go ahead. It's okay to check in. Really, sometimes things get so busy in people's lives that text messages go kind of to the bottom and they kind of forget to answer the question. That just happens, but they don't mean ill intent from it. And don't already think that she means ill intent from it. So ask her, check in with her. Hey, how's your Wednesday going? Hey, how's that meeting you told me about last week? And if she doesn't respond from there, then that is your answer. It's probably time to let it go, because she has, at this point, after a check-in, decided not to respond to you and has decided to let it go from there. And you should too. But if she does respond, okay, then great. That means that she probably just missed the last message, right? So ask yourself, what do you have control over? What can you do at this point? What do you want to do? Now, of course, it isn't the greatest for you to keep pushing her and keep asking her questions until she responds. That's why I said it's usually a pretty good tell if you checked in with her after you already asked another question and she still doesn't respond. It's just to let it go, let her be, because at that point, the reality is, if you really think about it, if you were in her shoes, there's something in that conversation that didn't connect you to enough to want her to continue to respond to you, and she doesn't have that kind of high interest to want to do that. And that's a whole nother question or story to go over in another video. But that's also the reality of the situation. If you checked in with her, if you asked her a question, if you felt like you did the best you could in this conversation, well, then that means that there's something on her side that didn't really pull her in enough to get her to stay to have that. And now it's time to really just work on yourself and recognize, okay, then it's time to let it go and not dwell on it, not sulk on it, and not wonder, what could have this meant? What did I do? What could have she meant by this? You have control over yourself. You have control over how you message, your confidence, what you think you're doing, how great the conversation is on your side, and that's that, But really try ease up on asking yourself that question, because once again, that usually leads down to a very scary rabbit hole, and I don't want you to be there. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. Being a little straight shooter there for you, but I feel like I get this question asked a lot, and it's helpful to see it from this perspective of, accepting that you have control over this, and know that you have a way to get your answer. And that's just by asking her. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening.